Hello, 1,000 Mile Challenge fans. It's Rudy Fowler here. Just got back in from a weekend of sledding. And I've got an article here that I'd like to address. And I know there's been some talk about the 1,000 Mile Challenge versus Federation, which would be SnowmobileNB now. And I thought I would address it. I was going to wait until after the challenge was over because we didn't really want any bad PR. We didn't want to turn off any sponsors or anything because, the goal of the event is to send some kids to camp. So anyway, I'm going to kind of tell a story here. I've taken some names. Some people are going to go under the bus. It's going to be the truth as I know it. Anyway, when we first started the 1,000 Mile Challenge, we made a call to Ross Antworth at the time and see if there was anything that they would like to do to maybe cross promote us trying it. Now at the time, I was a nobody, I guess. We were just a couple guys going to be doing 1,000 miles on a trail, and basically he said, yeah, I don't know who you are. Good luck with it. We can't support you because at the time the trails were closed because of COVID-19. The trails opened before we actually did our run, but we never really followed up with them. Year 2, we did the challenge. Sam and I left from Heartland, pulled it off again. Hour and a half to spare. Really no incidents at all. We had a couple encounters with some moose, which is pretty typical if you snowmobile. This November, whenever we had the Toronto Snowmobile Show, we fired up the Facebook page again, and Christiana started posting. We're going to go to the Toronto Snowmobile Show. We went to the show. The group started growing. We started getting some Ontario fans. That was good. When I got back from the show, I think it was a week or two later, I got a call from Dave Garland at SnowmobileNB. Hi, Dave. Probably going to watch this, so I'll just do a shout out there. And he said, I've got some concerns about the 1,000 Mile Challenge. And I said, okay, cool. I was, kind of half expecting a call at some point. We're getting kind of popular here. So he had a issue with insurance. He said, we'd like for you to have some type of insurance around the event. And they were concerned about liability on the trail, even though we sign about 5 times when we buy a trail pass saying we can't sue the Federation or anything. So that was, he told me, we had a discussion, and he said that I said, if I can take care of the insurance around the event, can we still run the fundraiser? He said, yep, that's the only thing that we have an issue with. So he told me that the insurer, which was Dan Kane Insurance, had called him with those concerns. So I kind of never said that I knew Dan Kane. And I hung up the phone and I called Dan Kane because I know Dan Kane. And they told me that the Federation actually called them about it and he didn't call them. So I said, okay, well, that's kind of funny because I was told one thing. Anyway, he said, yeah, we can sell you some insurance if you want. And so I said, yeah, cool. I mean, it just kind of, it wouldn't be a bad thing to have, especially where we have an event at a place and we have a start run from. I mean, you can never have too much insurance, right? Even though we're covered with the trail passes. Any rider on the trail has sled insurance. They have your trail pass and registration. So I called Dave back and I said, look, I talked to Dan. He said we can get some insurance through he would be a broker for a company in the West. And Dave said, actually, I've got more concerns than that. And I said, well, you told me if we took care of this, and that would be the only thing that we'd be worried about. He said, I didn't say that. And I said, well, you did. And if something changed in the meantime, it's okay. Just let me know, but don't say one thing and say another. So I cheesed him right off the bat. And understandably, no one likes to be called out. If you said, she said, whatever. So I said, we can take care of that. And he said, well, we have more issues with the event. And it was, I think, around called it a race. And I don't like it to be called a race because a race has winners. And their concern was it's a timed event over a set amount of miles. I mean, so is a poker run, I guess. You got to finish by a certain time. I think it's, we know what our average speeds have to be. I really wish they had brought me in and actually talked to me. I've done this twice now without incidents, and it would be really interesting. We're kind of, on one hand, it's a really brisk. The big thing about the event is you just can't stop. Send someone out 5 minutes in front of you and try to chase them down again. You can't catch them. It's all about the stop time, and the first year our fastest speed was a little over 80 miles an hour, and it just didn't. People said, well, that's not much. So the next year we kind of made it look a little more extreme. The more extreme you make it look, the more fans you'll get, and the more, it's, if you watch television, they throw some music in, and it's dramatic, and they throw a little bickering in and whatnot, and they try to make it more extreme, and it gets viewers, and that's what we're doing. At the end of the day, we're trying to get more viewers, more people, more donations, more kids to camp. That's why we do it now. I'm absolutely uninterested in doing 1,000 miles in one day ever again, and you'll understand that if you ever try it. There's no desire to do it. So at the Toronto Snowmobile Show, we were speaking with one of our sponsors, and he said, I actually know a guy from the Federation. This is before we had any conversation with the Federation. And he says, I'm going to give him a call, Kyle Good. And he spoke with Kyle Good on the phone. It was a speakerphone call, and there was 4 of us standing around, and Kyle had heard about the event and told the sponsor that, yeah, they had full support and with us 100%. So I said, I'm going to get a hold of this guy and see if him and Dave have been talking, because, the last I heard, we had full support from the Federation. So I called Kyle Good. I got his number, and I called him on the phone, and he said, I never said that. And I was like, are you the guy that we called on the phone from Toronto? And he's like, yeah. And I said, did you not say that you completely supported this event to your the sponsor? I won't give the name out yet, and he said, I never said that. And I said, oh, well, if that was you on the phone, I heard that. So once again, I said, either I'm going crazy here or something's going on. So anyway, at the end of that conversation, Kyle Good told me that he is going to do everything in his power to shut down the 1,000-mile challenge. So I said, okay, well, that's cool. That's, I don't really understand why, but that's how the conversation ended. I said to myself, well, this guy isn't any much good to me. So there was another phone call, I think, with Dave, and long story short, they couldn't support the event, and I said to them, I don't need you to support the event. I need a law that says that we can't do what we're doing, So I reached out to Mike Holland. I told Dave I would reach out to Mike Holland, and I tried to reach out to Mike Holland. I did. We never actually spoke. I don't think it was a priority for him, unfortunately. I wish it was. I wish it was a priority for a lot of these government officials that I did speak with. And a letter came, and it said that DNR cannot endorse the event. And I made a couple phone calls to a lady on the other end of that letter, and it said, I said, look, I just want to know if you guys are gonna, is there a law that's being broken? There's no speed limit. I do not want to be the one that causes a speed limit. You guys do not want me to be the one to cause a speed limit, and the government does not want to be the ones in putting a speed limit on because of a fundraiser for a kids event. Very bad. So I spoke with her, and there's no amount of time that you're allowed to drive in the run of a day, and there's no speed limit, even though your overall average needs to be 42 miles per hour. And we've done it at, and if you guys know what the trails are like here, it's not a huge number. You have to be very consistent. You don't have to don't go fast. You go fast, you break things. You have to be consistent, and you got to stay sharp. Anyway, I basically told them, I said, guys, you're really giving me a headache here. I don't want to continue fighting with you. If you want to buy a t-shirt, give me a call, or if you want to sponsor the event, give us a call. Otherwise, if you could stop wasting this, my life, that would be cool. So, and I said it in probably just like that. It wasn't rude about it, and she agreed. Actually, she was really good to speak with. So, yeah, so anyway, in the meantime, we've continued on, and I heard that Kyle Good spoke with one of our last year's organizers and told them that they're going to put a conservation officer at every road crossing that is on our planned route, and we always advertise the route so the fans can kind of watch and stuff. They're going to try to put a ranger or conservation officer or Oreos or anybody at every stop to try to slow us down. They sent letters to all the clubs and telling the clubs do not support them. Last year, half of the clubs actually give us $500 donations. And this is great because these guys are they're volunteer organizations, and they each gave us donations, and the clubs have actually been told by SnowmobileNB to get their money back from the fundraiser to send kids to camp, or they will not be supported by the Federation or the SnowmobileNB next year. So we've actually have a lot of support from the clubs. The clubs are not asking for their money back. We cannot advertise for the clubs because the clubs are scared of the Federation. And as far as I know, it's a couple guys at the Federation that just got a little bit of a beef because I called them out on a few things. And I'll tell you what else I called them out on. I said, if you guys really care about safety, let's talk about why I can't snowmobile on a Saturday night and why I don't want to send my wife out on a Saturday night. I snowmobile on a Saturday night. Everybody's drunk. Everybody drinks. They go to the drinking huts. They go from here to there, and that's just what happens. That's ATVing in New Brunswick. That's snowmobiling in New Brunswick. Everyone's toddying all day long. They're rarely on the trails. They're at a drinking hut. They're drinking in the mobile grooming huts. Warming huts. It's what it is. If you want to snowmobile, you got to understand that people are on the trail drinking. It's something that you accept. I don't drink. People who work at the clubs and the federations, they're all, I'm not saying it's, I'm not trying to put a stop to it or anything. I'm just saying if we really care about safety on the trails, let's talk about that. Let's not talk about a couple guys with an absolutely perfect safety record out driving around the province at a consistent pace in front of a live audience, raising, hundreds of thousands of dollars to send kids to camp. And let's not threaten to put a law in place because we were told that they were going to have a law around a speed limit by March, just in time for the event. So this is your government at work, people, and I wasn't going to say anything, but now the River Valley Sun decided they were going to post something. I didn't even know they were going to post it. I didn't even know it was going to be an interview. They kind of pulled that one on me. But it's accurate in there. That's the news article is accurate. And so, yeah, it's really putting a damper on the fundraising. It absolutely is because the clubs are talking. I love the clubs. The clubs and the volunteers and the groomer operators, they're the ones that make her go round. And don't not buy a pass because of this. I do wish that the people would see the big picture and understand that, we can be some pretty cool ambassadors for snowmobiling in New Brunswick. When we went to Toronto, people couldn't understand that you can actually do 1,000 miles in one day. The trails are that good. They're the best in North America. And you can do 1,000 miles in one day. And that just doesn't seem, there's no, it's just being portrayed as a race. Nobody wants to talk. I've never been actually asked to go to a meeting, talk to these people. I'd love to ride with them, but I don't drink. That was a low blow. You don't have to do that, Rudy. Anyway, yeah, so that's kind of how it started and where we're at right now. I spoke with Jeff Carr. I've sent messages to Mike Holland, Chris Austin, Kevin Price. He's the wingman to the Premier. The Premier knows about it from last year. We have a video of him saying good luck on your run from the President's Ride. And we are supposed to get a letter from the Premier's office that allows us to do it without harassment. What I do not want to see and what you don't want to see and what it would be in the Federation's best interest is to not put a law enforcement person at road crossings And another thing that we don't want to see, and I've heard this, I don't have any proof of it, but the clubs are being told not to groom the trails ahead of the riders. And, you know, if we really care about safety, maybe we should just groom like we always do. I don't know. It seems kind of personal to me, and unfortunately, you know, we had a goal of $250,000. We're not near that. The event's not over. And the event will go forward. We are not breaking any laws. I have personally ridden with all the riders, and they were selected based on a variety of different things, not their ability to go the fastest. It's their ability to be safe. The last thing we want is some type of accident around this, where it, you know, it's not what we want. You know, we need to know our limits. If a rider wants to back out, we have a backup rider to go with the other rider. We don't want to send anybody on a 100-mile stint to Serpentine by themselves in the middle of the night. You know, so I know there's been some talk about backup riders and whether they should be allowed or not. It's a safety thing for us. Safety actually is paramount here. And I wish that more people would, you know, in government would reach out, maybe buy me a sandwich and we'll sit and talk. Maybe we'll go for a sled ride and I can show you what pace you need to do. You cannot ride at 100% all day. You got to cruise at 60% of your ability all day long, consistent, in and out, dance. It's a dance. And, you know, there's guys that are a lot more reckless out there, what we could have chose. And anyway, at the end of the day, it's you know, it's our names on the line, and it's the fundraiser on the line. The fundraiser hasn't been the most exciting thing, or it hasn't been the most enjoyable this year because of this. It's really putting a damper on things. And, you know, who knows, maybe the government will step up and say, hey, look at all the money that we caused you guys not to raise. And instead of you suing us, why don't you take this nice donation? I don't know. Jeepers, just thinking out loud here. Anyway, there's going to be some talk about it. We're going to go forward with the event, and we're not going to be bothered. The saber rattling that we have, I mean, I don't want them to put a law in place. I would be very embarrassed if I was a politician and decided I was going to put a law in place because of 2 riders, maybe in the past, 4 riders going in opposite directions of one another, just to... you know, just to stop an event like this from happening. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 4 guys going for a trail ride. That's what it is. And if you can get 1,000 miles on in a day, great. You know, we did it with an hour and a half to spare. You guys watched the mini documentaries. We look pretty relaxed. And if you know, I'd love to talk to people and tell them about, you know, and here's my big motto. You don't have to be fast on the trail. Don't stop. And when you do stop, be fast. That's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Just don't stop. And, you know, we obviously have to stop for fuel and some food and water and to pee and away you go, but that's where you're fast. And, you know, it's, the reality is when people do 200 miles in a day, half of them are standing around, you know, getting something to eat, standing at a gas station, going to a warming hut, looking at their map, checking their phone, picking up their idler wheels, putting JB Weld on their heat exchangers. Anyway, there's probably some parts of the story that I could elaborate on, but we do feel a bit bullied. No problem solving whatsoever. There's no solutions other than go to a lake and drive around in a circle. But I don't think there is a problem. At the end of the day, I wanted to know what law will be stopped on? What law will the riders be stopped on? And there is none, and I don't want there to be, and I want everybody to be safe, and I want the riders to do their best, and I want it to do them safely. And I'm trying every weekend. I'm going out, I'm spending time with the riders and seeing their ability and seeing, you know, where their weaknesses are and where their strengths are. You know, this weekend we discovered that the navigation side of things was a little bit weak. The rider average speeds are great, you know, they're safe, and not stopping, it's great. And anyway, so I'm spending a lot of time with them, and I think that's really helping. And if someone was reckless or dangerous, or we thought that we were endangering the public, then I would definitely say something. And I should know because I mean, not to flex my muscles here, but I've done it twice. And, You know, I've seen every aspect of the 1,000-mile challenge. I have yet to see anyone ask for a meeting with Rudy or any of the organizers and see, you know, maybe how we could benefit. The province could benefit. The snowmobile industry could benefit. You know, it's amazing what we could do. It's amazing what we could do for the clubs and for the federation and for the province and for tourism and for snowmobiling in general. And at the end of the day, it just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of problem solving or caring or anything. It's just what you see. Anyway, this is the longest video I have ever done. And it's not the most exciting, but I will make some exciting videos, I promise, soon. I'm going to go snowmobile with one of my 4 young men, and we're going to go enjoy some of those awesome groom trails before the winter's over. Have a great day.